Hey everyone! Alright, so here's our next zombie tutorial, and this one is a little bit grosser than the other one, as you can probably already tell. This one looks more like something that's been dead and like started to decay, and then maybe came back to life, because you can see the skin's really gross. It's got like patches missing over here. Whole area over here has been like torn off, and it's just really gross. So yeah, I told you they're gonna get a little grosser, but that's pretty much all I can say about the look. So with that said, let's just go right ahead and get the tutorial started. Okay, so the first thing that I did is I covered my brow and then I popped in a contact. I have a video that explains in full depth like how to cover your brows, so if you click right here, it'll take you to that. And then also with all the latex and stuff that I'm going to be using, I'm not going to go too into detail on that because I have a video that goes way more in depth, so if you click right here, it'll take you to that one. But with that said, I'm just going in and I'm going to use liquid latex and tissue to just go ahead and make all the areas of the flesh that are going to be ripped off. Now, if you are allergic to latex, there are a few alternatives you can use in place of it. So if you want, you could use a PVA glue, which is like Elmer's school glue. I recommend Elmer's only because it's non-toxic, it's for kids, it's washable with soap and water, so that's a great alternative, and then you can just use that in place of the latex, use the tissue, and you're set. Otherwise, what you can use is you can mix together corn syrup with flour, and that'll actually make a paste, and then you can use that. It's not as strong, but you still get a similar effect, so that's a great alternative, and most people have those around the house, so you could just use that instead. But with that said, I'm just going to go in and start applying latex and tissue and building up the areas that I want for the skin to be torn. Then once I have that on, I'm just going to go over all of it with a layer of liquid latex, which is very fast and simple. Now for the next part, since I have a new layer of latex down, I want to add another layer of the toilet paper or tissue, whatever you're using. Now, I want the inner perimeter to be thicker because I'm going to peel some of this back so it looks like the skin was actually ripped out, but I don't want all of this thick because that wouldn't really make sense because it's supposed to be blending into your skin. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply this to the inner perimeter, and then that way it'll help with the illusion once I'm done and peel everything back that it's thicker right here because the skin in the center is missing and it fades into the rest of your face. So I'm just going to throw all of these pieces on very quickly. That second layer's on, so I'm going to do the same thing I did before and then just apply another layer of latex. Alright, I did like 5 more layers and started bunching up the latex on the inside right there. You can see there's a lot of dimension. I actually ran out of the regular like clear latex, so I started using my beige latex, so there's like a slight color gradation. That's totally fine because I need to do bruising and all that stuff anyways, but I'm going to wait for this to dry and then I'm going to start doing more. Now that everything is dry, I'm just going in with a foundation on a sponge, and I'm gonna have to do a few layers of this, and I'm just applying this all over the areas where like the tissue and everything is, because now I need to start blending that into my skin. Now I'm just going in around the perimeter with a darker color, and I'm just adding this so it'll be a little bit darker on the inner perimeter, and then it'll fade out into the rest of my skin. You could skip this if you want to, you don't really have to do it. I'm just doing it for more of a dramatic effect. Now I'm just going in and adding little spots of latex on my skin. You could have done this before when you were doing all the latex on that. I just like to do it after so I can spend most of my time on the part that I just did and then go in and add all of these later. I'm not going to use tissue with these, I'm just applying the latex just so I can get like a thin film that's like a little layer of skin, and then I'll show you what I'll do after that. Now that those are on, I'm going to do the same thing I've been doing. I'm just going to go in and cover them and make them blend into my skin a little bit better by layering foundation on them. Now that that's all on, I'm going to go in and start adding a little bit of texture like I did in my last video, so my skin doesn't look flat and so it looks like there's like something going on with it. To do that, I'm actually going to use Dura colors, just like in my last video. I used the actual palette last time. I'm going to use these colors only because I'm not using a brush and I'm going to use a sponge, so it's going to be easier for me. But I do have the same colors in palette form, so I'm just going to show you what they look like so you can, because in the bottles you can't really see. But I'm going to be using a little bit of the grime color, and then a little bit of grease, which is like a brownish, purpley, black kind of color. And then I'm going to use some marsh. Marsh is actually a dark green. You can't even really tell right there. It looks black. It's that color right there. That's on the back of my hand. But I'm just going to use a combination of those colors and just stipple them all over my face. But again, remember, I'm using actual liquids instead of the palette. So the first color I'm going to use is actually grime. And I'm just going to go in and add some texture to my skin. Same thing, this time I'm using grease, and you're going to notice I'm going to start looking like a Dalmatian here soon because it's just going to be a ton of dots, but we're just doing this because just like over here, we're going to make it look like it's under the skin instead of on top. So just getting it on now is going to help, and then we'll fix it after. Then the last color I'm going to use is Marsh, which is that darker green color. And again, I'm going to do the same thing, but this one I'm not going to blend out as much as I have the others. I'm going to let this one be a little bit more of like a standout. Now that I have all that on and it just looks like a bunch of spots on my face, going in, same sponge, but I'm going back in with that foundation color that matches my skin. And I'm going to pick up this product, and then now what I'm going to do is on top of all of that, I'm going to start to dab this foundation color, and you can see it blocks some of it out, but you can still see all that texture underneath it. So it makes it look like there's something going on under my skin instead of being on top of it. Now I'm just going to start going in and doing like shading to areas of the face like underneath my eye and just contouring and stuff like that. This is one of my favorite colors to use for this, and it's because I can use it for pretty much any skin tone. That's Mystery eyeshadow from MAC. It's like a grayish brown, but it also has like a little bit of violet in it, so it's great to like enhance dark circles or to do shadows or anything like that. I'm just going to pick that up on a flat brush like this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sculpt out a shape underneath my eye to make it look like I have like a bag underneath there, but also make it look like the skin around it is going to be puffed up. So I'm going to do that, so it's making my eye look nice and droopy. And then I'm just going to blend that color up. Then I'm also going to put a little bit like underneath my eyeball pretty much. Like on me you can see how it puffs out a little bit right there. So I'm going to put some like right in that little line. And then I'm going to go in with a fluffy brush and I'm going to apply the same color just right here next to the bridge of my nose. And then also underneath my brow. Then I'm doing just a very, very light dusting of it on my eyelid just to darken it up a little bit. Then I'm also going to dust this on my lips. Then I'm going to use this to do a little bit of like contouring underneath my cheek and like the hollows of my cheekbone. Then I'm just using that fluffy brush that I was using earlier, and I'm just putting a little bit next to my nose. Same color, same flat brush, and then I'm just going to add like some lines up here. And then also, you're going to want to do some on the nose as well. Now I'm going to go in and do amp up like the shaded areas just a little bit more in certain spots. To do that, I'm going to use another one of my favorites for something like this, Shadowy Lady from MAC. It's just a very, very dark matte eggplant color. And then on the areas that need to be like extremely dark, I'm just going to go in and darken them up even more. So like mainly areas that need a dark shadow to them. So right here on this whole line, to make that look like a heavy like bag or dark circle. Then I'm going to take it and then right underneath my bottom lashes, I'm going to dust it right in there. Now I'm going in with that fluffy brush and then like bridging the nose, under the brow, kind of just completing a lopsided circle. I'm going to take that same brush and do a very light coating or dusting on my lid, but I'm focusing on the inside and outside corners. Now comes the fun part where we're going to start adding like blood and stuff like that. Now for this area right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little spatula that I use all the time. You could actually use like the back of tweezers, the back of a makeup brush, anything like that. You don't really want anything with a sharp point, just in case you slip, you don't want to stab yourself. So the back of the tweezers and the back of the makeup brush is probably a better bet. But I'm going to be very careful, and I'm going to take my spatula. I'm just going to go in and lift it and then make it peel up just a little bit. Then once you have the whole area like peeled, what you do with it now is going to be completely up to you. You can let it just lay flat and then just make it look like that. You can peel it away and have flaps hanging that wiggle and are gross. You can fold it back on itself. Yeah, it's going to be completely up to you. So I'm just going to go in and like manipulate this into the shape that I want it to have, and then we'll go from there. Now that I have that how I want it, I'm going to go in with Kryolan Aquacolor in red, and then to make it adhere, I'm just going to use MAC Pro water-based mixing medium. And then what I'm going to do is once I get moisture on the product, just going to take like a foundation brush, swirl it around on there, and then I'm going to paint my skin red inside this whole area. I'm going in with that fluffy brush that I was using earlier, and I'm using a burgundy color now. I'm using Burnt Burgundy Pigment, which is a MAC Pro product that I now believe is discontinued, but any kind of burgundy color would work. And then around the perimeter, I'm going to apply this, and then blend it out over onto the rest. Kind of doing the lopsided circle again. Now I'm going to do the last of the detail work with like eyeshadow. I'm going to use black this time, and I'm using a tiny, tiny, tiny little lip brush to do this. And then just on some areas I'm just going to go in. So like this area on each eye, I'm just going to go in and add a little bit more depth to it by just using the black. And you can see that instantly adds a lot more to it just by doing something so minuscule. Then I'm gonna add more to this part, and then I'm just using my finger to blend. And then these lines that I have right here, one's on the nose, just going to go in with that fluffy brush and then just randomly put splotches of black inside the wound area. I'm just going to go in and open up all of these. The same way I did this, I'm just going to put a little hole in the center, spread it open, and do all the same shading that I've already done. Now before I go and add the fake blood and finish everything, I'm going to stain my teeth. Again, if you want to see how to do this or get like a more in-depth video, you can click the one that's right there to see. I'm just going to use nicotine to make them look nice and dirty, rotted, and then black to add texture, and then I'll add the blood after that. Alright, so my teeth are stained, so the last thing would be to add fake blood. Again, you can use whatever you want. I'm just going to use my favorite, which is the coagulated blood gel from Mayron, and I'm just going to apply that in the whole area that's open or exposed. So I'm just going to start putting that in there. Now I'm going in, and since I don't have regular fake blood, I'm just using Max Gloss Texture Cream and applying like a heavy layer of that all over just to make this look nice and juicy. If there's anything else you want to add to it, now would be the time to do it. I'm just going in with a little bit of burnt burgundy on my finger, and then just randomly kind of making wounds inside the wound and just making it look like how it kind of looks over on this side. And just adding like small, tiny little wounds. So, yeah. Then of course, if you added any other like areas that you need to add blood, you could do that, and yeah, that's it. My tutorial is done. So, hope this is helpful to some of you for your costumes, and yeah, until my next video, I will talk to all of you soon. Bye.